This is the secret of the successful people. This is what I've committed my life to doing. I told my mom when I was 16 years old, one day I'm gonna be successful. One day I'm gonna be successful, and one day I'm gonna help a lot of people. I always say this, pay the price today so you can pay any price in the future. Pay the price now, okay? Pay the price. My buddies were traveling, seeing the world, and I didn't have any of those experiences. I've had people tell me, hey, you market too much, you market too aggressively, take me off your list. My office tells me we hit the list too much. I'm like, what's the list for? Hit the list. That's what it's for. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth. Look, I've been ridiculed by my peers, by customers, and by competition. I've been judged for working too much, wanting too much, being too colorful, being inappropriate, insensitive, and too out there. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been threatened, I've been sued, I've been betrayed by friends, I've been ripped off, and I've been copied. 30 years, 18-hour days. Not 8-hour days, not 10-hour days, not 12-hour days, 18-hour days. I've been married 15 years to Elena. Not one time has she ever said, you work too much. Not one time. She has never said to me, what are you doing getting home so late? She knows what I'm doing. I'm closing deals. I'm taking care of my family. I'm trying to get to 10X levels. It's been 30 years, 30 years. It's probably gonna be 30 years for you too. Doubt, uncertainty, insecurities, rejection, disappointment, judgment. It's gonna be 30 years of it. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? If anybody thinks you're gonna be successful without paying that price, you're wrong.
Look, everybody goes through a moment in their life where everything you thought up to that second vanishes, and you realize that there's an opportunity to change the story that you've written in your head for the last 2-3 decades. And I think it's universal. I think there are very few people who don't get to a point at year 20, 30, 35 that don't start debating, wait a minute, is this what I want? Is this where I'm going? Is this how it's playing out? And, you know, to me, that is one of the most important moments in one's life. You know, many people look at it as a moment to start to get upset and say, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for. And others, regardless of what's happened, use it as an opportunity to write the next chapter. You know, I think anybody who's listening right now, if you want to set yourself up for success, ask yourself how much risk you've taken in the first 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of your life. When I started talking about business on Twitter, every single comment in 2009 was, shut your mouth, wine boy, stay in your lane. I'm telling you right now, you want to talk about why so many of you aren't exactly where you want to be? Look deep inside yourself on what your expectations of others are. Ask yourself how much you've been succumbing to peer pressure. Like if you've always wanted to be cool to the popular kids in your high school, you're in trouble. The amount of people in here that have a job they hate and they buy things they don't care about to impress people they don't give a fuck about scares the shit out of me. Most people spend money on dumb things, which then forces them to do things they don't want. Long before I became the wine guy on YouTube and Twitter, I was a businessman. And I think if it's your truth, there's a very big difference between being an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur. I can say that I'm a football player, doesn't mean I'm gonna get paid to do it. And so I think the truth, I think it's unbelievably exciting for me. It feels warm in my heart that the thing that I've seen consistently, analyzing this every second of my breathing day.
When I had my own child that ain't nobody else gonna raise, my biological father lost the right to call me by my last name that I am. I have somebody else's name because he didn't step up. So when I write my books, it don't have my name, and people who are part of my family, they might not even know that I was their kid. Why? Because somebody didn't step up. I don't care what my wife going through. I don't care what she's expecting. They're my kids. I'm going to raise my kids, and I'm not going to raise them like she want me to raise them. I'm going to raise them to be a man, and I'm going to raise my daughter to know how to deal with men. You ain't no boy no more. This ain't no base. This ain't no, I want to go party. You've given up that right when you had kids. Hey, party's over with out of time. Got time to be partying no more. Now it's time to create a legacy now. You had your fun. Now get to work. Now build a legacy. My son graduated. I can't say no names. My son wanted to work for a sports agent. He was all geek at, I'm going to work for them. I'm going to get the chain. I said, the chain? The chain? The chain? You don't wear nobody else's chain. You don't wear nobody else's name. They eating off of that. Your family ain't going to eat off that. You're going to get a check. We building money for generations to come. You don't work for nobody else. I didn't put you in school to go give your best talent to some other man. I put you to work for this legacy. You work for your family. You don't got no options. You don't work nowhere else. You don't work for nobody else. You work for your mama. You work for your sister. You work for your aunts. You work for your grandma. You work for your family. You work for your kid. You ain't making no other man rich. Some of you still on that boy stuff. You talking to some people you shouldn't be talking to. You grown now. It's over. When I was a child, when I was 18 years old, I act like that. When I was 21, I act like that. I'm 49 now. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I behaved like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Cut it off. Cut it off.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Unless you want average in America, married, 2.4 kids with 1.5 dogs. But I can guarantee you, you will never achieve anything greater than your highest aspiration. If you want $1 million, you'll make $1 million, not $1.5 million. If you want 10 million, 100 million, and you'll never exceed that. If you change 1 billion lives, that's a formula to become a billionaire and change the world. Time costs lives. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You want to know why you're all f***ed up? Just look at the bums you hang around with. I do what you don't want to do, that you know that you got to do to be where you want to be. Ted Turner just gave his 75th anniversary party on CNN a few months ago. And he makes a couple of comments and he says, number one, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody, it's how I lived though. First 10 years of my starting CNN, I slept on my couch. I didn't have an apartment. Bill Gates slept in the office. Steve Jobs slept in the office. And I can go down a whole list. Now these are super successful, mega wealthy guys. I slept in my office. Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But it's not the only thing. But even if you don't sleep in your office, if you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to, this all takes money. My children aren't getting any of my money when I die. Not one centavo, not one penny. And 2 of my kids are cool with it. One of them's not so cool with it. I'm not gonna, I think Andrew Carnegie, by the way, Andrew Carnegie, arguably the richest, most successful entrepreneur of all time, he said the best thing that you can have for a child is him to be born into poverty. And I agree. Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Now they think they have self-worth. They think because they've made a few bucks. But in actuality, and when they measure it against the other 8, 10, 12 people sitting around the table, they realize, or they start to question, hell, maybe I was just lucky. Now, all of us, when you're only a one-trick guy or gal, think, was I lucky? Now, I've done it so many times, I know I wasn't lucky. I might have been lucky the first time, but I haven't been lucky the 15, 20, 40, 50. I know that.
Okay.
But maybe I was lucky the first time. But my life changed when I was pretty much a haphazard kid, got in a lot of trouble, got arrested 4 or 5 times, thrown in jail. And this was with my dad as a cop. But then I volunteered for the draft in 1966 at the height of the Vietnam War. And I went to OCS, and that changed my life because it was the really first real high performance thing that I could measure myself against with other people. 2/3 of all Fortune 500 CEOs have one thing in common: military background.
Really?
2/3 of those 2/3 have something else: martial arts. What do you learn in martial arts, Brian? Discipline, focus. A lot of people don't believe they deserve to be there. I convince them, and we have these drills, why you belong there. A lot of people that come there, with money, that have made money, think they made it by accident.
Right.
I just had one of my superstars who's made $100 million tell me in the last week, I'm not sure I'm going to have another lucky accident. And I said, you did it. I mean, you tried a lot of things. I believe Thomas Edison, I wouldn't have done it 10,000 times.
Okay.
I would have hired an engineer from MIT to do it. But I mean, I've tried a lot of things. Nobody's failed at more things than I have. And the first 100 million are successes, but I could write a book about failures that'd be, because I've tried a lot of different things. Because failure is just testing. And one of the reasons I've been so successful in generating this equity and value in my kids, and I call you all kids, is because I convince them that making a mistake is okay. Your parents probably told you, you can be anything you want, but you can't. That's horseshit. You can't. If it's all juxtaposed. But what you tell them is that you can do anything you want that you have passion for, because that eliminates most of the crap. Because most people don't follow their dream. Like they say in The Sound of Music, you can't have a dream come true unless you have a dream. Now, I still dream. I dream in Technicolor. I say my affirmations and goals every single night. It's bloody hard to be a high performance person.